Hey beautiful people, today we're here to talk about how education and training affect career advancement. By the end of this video, you will be able to understand how education and training can impact career advancement and put it in its place relative to some of the other really important traits and qualities that you need to have in order to get promoted. Have you ever wondered what matters more than education and training when it comes to career advancement? Why education and training still matters, and I think it always will, and why the term self-starter is in pretty much every performance review. I hate to tell you it depends, but the answer is it really does, and let me tell you what it depends on. You can be super educated and have an enormous amount of training, and we all know some of those people, and we all don't necessarily want to work with all of those people all of the time. People prefer to work with people who do three super important things. They keep their promises, they're competent at what they do, and they care about customer satisfaction both internally and externally. This also means that you have internal customers for the work that you do. I know we think of them as bosses, I know we think of them as people who tell us what to do, but think of them as customers will actually help you serve them a lot better and help you generate a lot more satisfaction. It's my experience, and there's data to back this up, that there are traits and qualities that are more important than skills and training. And these are some of the most important ones. People put it in under the broader umbrella of easy to work with, but for a person to be easy to work with, they've got to be clear about what it is that they're delivering. They've got to be clear around what it is they're promising to do and not promising to do. So I'm pretty certain that we can all think of someone who you ask them to do something and they nod and they smile and it never gets done. Or someone who you ask them to do something and they say, oh yeah, and you have this sneaky feeling as you walk away from their desk or you hang up on the Zoom call that it's not going to happen. So people who keep their promises, are clear on what their promises are and will say yes and no, and you know where you stand with them at every moment in time. People who are competent around what they do are also super valuable and important on a team. And that competence comes not just from the education and training, although that is some of the foundation of it, but it also comes from how they handle themselves, how they manage themselves, whether or not one, they're keeping their promises, and two, they're anticipating breakdowns that might happen related to a particular project. And three, they're actually listening to their customers. So we're looking at, do they have the capability? Do they have the competence? And are they following through? There's another critical quality that bosses really look for, and it's in pretty much every performance review that I have ever written or ever received. And it is, are you a self-starter? This used to drive me crazy earlier on in my career. Jennifer is a self-starter. All I could think of was igniting fires. And what I really learned to be able to understand later on was that I was the one who was coming in and suggesting things that needed to be done. I was the one who, when I didn't know what needed to be done, I was putting my hand up and saying I needed help. I was the one who was asking questions, trying to make things more clear and trying to understand things. So for you to be a self-starter, it requires that you really, every time you get asked to do something, that you really sit down and say, do I understand what it is that I'm being asked to do? As I put that work into action, do I know what it is that my boss is looking for and what are they going to consider to be valuable and useful? So as a self-starter, you're taking responsibility on yourself to satisfy your customer. You're taking responsibility upon yourself to understand what needs to be done. You're taking responsibility upon yourself to be able to have a conversation with your boss to make sure that you are completely aligned around what it is that needs to happen. Many of us at work are so much self-starters that we forget to have those early stage design conversations and we jump straight into the work. We also have a need to appear to be seen to be working hard and appear to be busy. And one of the downsides of that is we tend to jump into doing, and we don't spend a whole lot of time having the critical conversations that allows us to be able to do the design and make sure that we get into alignment with what needs to be done. There's been a movement away from formal education and training in the last 5 to 10 years. And a number of companies have actually dropped their formal education requirements. And as you start looking at job descriptions, you'll start noticing that people will talk more in terms of experience on the job rather than they will necessarily talk about how many degrees people have and what specific degrees they've studied. If you look at job postings today, you can see that they ask more about experience than they necessarily do about specific training and qualifications. Now, for certain jobs, absolutely you need to have specific qualifications, and those are hard to get and they're going to take a lot of energy and effort, but not for every particular job. Sometimes the longevity in the job, sometimes the experience of having done that particular job for a long time is considered to be more valuable. So we're moving a little bit away from requiring a bachelor's degree or a master's degree for absolutely everything that we do, and we're opening up more opportunity for people to be able to learn and contribute on the job. Now, some of that is we have some fantastic resources available to us. YouTube is obviously one, but we have things like Udemy that allow us to be able to get up to speed on particular areas much faster. The other thing that's happening is the breadth of specialty is expanding massively, particularly when it comes to artificial intelligence. There is a breadth of requirements now for people that are orders of magnitude bigger than they used to be in the past. So the skills that you have associated with being easy to work with, being a self-starter, keeping your promises, taking care of your boss, engaging with your team members, learning how to be an effective cross-functional coordinator, those are actually getting more emphasis because as we need to be able to weave a lot of these different skill sets together, the people who are able to do that are even more important. So let me give you an example, and the example is actually me in this particular case. So my background is I'm a geologist. I'm actually trained as a geotechnical engineer and worked as a geotechnical engineer for a number of years. And then I moved over into information technology. And at the time, there were very few college degrees in information technology. Now I've just totally dated myself. There are some very few college degrees in information technology. And so some of the big companies actually trained us in IT. They trained us in technology. They trained us in coding and programming and systems development and systems implementation. So what you'll find is, particularly on the leading edge of something at any given time, AI might be a good example in this particular case, is you will actually find opportunities that don't require specific degrees because the education system hasn't necessarily caught up, but it'll give you an opportunity to be able to parlay your experience into a role that you might not otherwise have had. I'd love to hear in the comments from people who have gotten roles that they didn't think they were going to be able to have based on their current education, but they positioned themselves well at the time and they had experience in that area and they were able to move into a role they might not otherwise have been able to have. If you're going to do one of these amazing moves into a field that you don't have the on-paper qualifications for, make absolutely certain that you have done all of your other homework and make it easy for someone to be able to make the decision with you. So one of the places to start with this is to look down in the description below for the link for my free promotion readiness assessment. Do all your homework on the promotion side. Make sure that you know where you're headed and what it is that you're asking for. And if you're doing a move within your company to a new department that'll give you an opportunity you wouldn't otherwise have had, at least get all of that off the table before you begin to have the conversation. I'm currently working with an organization that is building a new business in the AI space. Fascinating, super interesting to work with them. And what it's doing is it's opening doors for young people in their organization who are just out of college, who have relevant but not specific experience in the AI field. So if you're interested in a new field that's opening up, find where the crossover is between your own current skill set and the one that you really want to learn. Do your get promoted homework and then go and have the conversation with someone who's looking to build a team in that space. It's happening really fast at the moment. It's a tremendous opportunity if it's something you're interested in, and I would say go for it, and I wish you luck. And remember, get and complete the promotion readiness assessment. The link is in the description.